You're with Julian on the Brown Note and a review of The Bricklayer, a film directed by Rennie Harlin. First to say how, like last week I reviewed The Beekeeper, and these are both films where somebody has been in that same bracket where they were an immortal member of the either Navy SEAL, CIA, NSA, NSC, some secret ops person. Like the Equalizer, the modern version of the Equalizer. Perhaps we have to blame the original Equalizer for all of these paradigms. They're living a small country existence and they get pulled back into the game. And honestly, I reviewed the Statham film, which I quite liked, the Beekeeper last week, where he's in doing his thing in anonymity, where his paradigm and metaphor is that he's now a beekeeper, which was the most heavy-handed metaphor I've ever heard, because it actually dovetailed into him being a member of this secret operative team called the Beekeepers. Now that we've got, I can't remember his name now, Aaron Eckhart, he's a bricklayer. So he used to be in the CIA, operative, high level, all of this stuff, and now his metaphor is that he's a bricklayer, because what bricks are going to do is about, I think, what they actually say. Rennie Harlin's had such a long career as a director, it's insane. He did Nightmare on Elm Street 4, Die Hard 2, he veers from absolute pap to really quite good films. Die Hard 2, cliffhanger. He took a bit of a hit with Cutthroat Island, but then The Long Kiss Goodnight, and then in the modern era, he's done really quite dodgy stuff. Reunion 3 Singles Cruise was a film that he did before The Bricklayer, which has just come out, and he's already done 3 other films, which is quite insane. The Strangers chapters 1, 2 and 3, I don't know what that's about. But anyway, The Bricklayer features exactly the same plot virtually as the Beekeeper last week. So Aaron is a guy that is now a bricklayer. The CIA come back to him because I can't remember who the actual character is, but one of his ex-associates has now gone rogue and is murdering lots of people, including very important people, and trying to expose the secret CIA program of them assassinating people and trying to get regime change, which I think is rather, even though it's the most generic plot possible, it's rather timely at the moment, especially with the piece I did on Imran Khan and Pakistan last week. So we've got the CIA sending him back into the fold with Nina Dobrev, who is very good. I must admit, her role in this film really reminds me of Elizabeth Olsen, looks-wise, and the character she played in Wind River. It's kind of this sort of borderline newbie being sent into the field and having to deal with carnage. And there's so many films that this is redolent of as well, pretty much everything that you've said. The one last year with another ex-female assassin that went back into the fold, and I thought it was okay. I can't remember what it's called. It's hard to keep track of these films. I don't know why they don't mix it up more. They just don't mix these films up. They hew so close to this generic template. The guy is always this invincible, unkillable, and I would say post Bruce Willis in Die Hard. Bruce Willis in Die Hard is a template for all of these characters because he wasn't like the big guy. He wasn't like the guy that was completely invincible. He'd always have to get really beaten and bloodied and, covered in bruises and still find a way through. I always think that is the Bruce Willis action template from Die Hard, rather than Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone and their muscle-bound, undefeatable physical strength and all of that stuff. They're always a little bit more grounded or earthy. Aaron Eckhart is, he's had some ropey roles where he's been a bit cheesy, but overall he's a solid presence and he works well here. A little bit like the film Nobody. It actually isn't without the sense of humour. It's quite close to that sort of setup. Overall, I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. It's got pretty dire reviews. I thought some of the action sequences were quite well helmed, actually. There's a lot of carnage and European settings, of course. You can't go past European settings, can you, in these films? Did the Beekeeper? No, the Beekeeper kept it local. That's unusual. They normally go on a tour of Rome or something in these films. I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was entirely interesting for its duration, and it was, lunkheaded enough in good ways, and the violence and the sort of action sequences were actually quite entertaining. So yeah, in exactly the same review, I might as well have just rerun the Beekeeper review. The only difference is, I suppose, on the Beekeeper had lower moments and higher moments in this film, whereas this is on a lower plateau than those higher moments, and a higher one than the lower moments. It's a bit more consistently average rather than occasionally brilliant and occasionally dire. It was nothing that cringeable about it, really. I thought Dobrev was quite good as a female lead. Her character as well is just as generic as the lead character. The woman that works for the CIA and eventually becomes distrustful of her bosses. I think you can make these films out of a combination of Die Hard and The Bourne Identity, really, and you've got the whole thing. So I'm going to give it 7 out of 10. I thought it was amiably enjoyable, and I'm a sucker for these kind of movies. But yeah, I shouldn't be giving them a 7 out of 10.